Come in, my friend. Close the door tight against the chill. The wind is howling a bit louder tonight, isn't it? It's a restless, searching wind, the kind that wanders the mountains looking for something it can never quite find. Sit down here by the hearth. Let the steady warmth of this cabin remind you that you don't always have to be out there, exhausted and running with the storm. Tonight, I want to speak to you about a specific kind of loneliness, one that isn't a burden to be carried, but a crown to be worn. I want to talk about the quiet courage to stand alone, and the profound, silent art of not fitting in. We live in a world that is fundamentally terrified of the outsider. From the very moment we take our first breath, we are handed a rigid script. We are told how to dress, how to speak, what to desire, and exactly who we should strive to be. We are taught that to be apart from the crowd is to be broken or flawed. But tonight, as we watch the orange shadows dance on these old log walls, I want to tell you the opposite. I want to tell you that your inability to fit into the world's narrow, suffocating boxes is not your failure, it is your greatest, most sacred strength. Think about the ancient trees in the forest just beyond this door. If every single tree tried to be exactly like the oak, the forest would lose its soul and eventually die. The willow has its weeping grace, the pine has its rugged resilience, and the birch has its shimmering silver skin. They do not compete for space or try to mimic each other's bark, they simply occupy their own truth. Yet, as humans, we spend the majority of our precious life energy trying to prune our souls so we can look like the manicured lawns of everyone else. We cut away our sharp edges, we silence our unique, haunting songs, and we dim our brilliant inner light just to feel the cold, fleeting comfort of belonging to the herd. But I ask you, what are we truly belonging to? It is often a crowd of people who are also hiding their true selves, living in a shared exhaustion. It is a masquerade where everyone is tired from wearing a heavy mask that doesn't fit. The moment you stop trying to fit in is the moment you finally start to belong, not to a group, a tribe, or a trend, but to yourself. And that, my friend, is the only belonging that will ever truly matter when the sun goes down. I remember a young man who came to see me many winters ago, during a storm much like this one. He was successful by every standard the world could measure, he had the right clothes, the prestigious job, and a circle of many friends. But his eyes were like empty wells. He sat where you are sitting now and told me, "Christopher, I feel like a ghost in my own life. I do everything right, I follow every rule, but I feel like I'm disappearing into the gray." I told him a story about a wild hawk that was mistakenly raised among chickens in a dark barn. The hawk spent its life pecking at the dirt, trying to find seeds, always feeling clumsy, heavy, and deeply out of place. It felt like a total failure because it couldn't be a good chicken. It wasn't until the hawk finally looked up at the vast, open sky and felt a strange, electric pull in its powerful wings that it realized the truth. It wasn't a broken chicken, it was a creature of the heights. Many of you feel like failures today because you are trying to be good chickens in a world that doesn't understand the span of your wings. You aren't broken, you are simply in the wrong habitat. You were meant for the mountain peaks, not the safety of the barnyard floor. Standing alone requires a type of courage that most people will never have the stomach to know. It is dangerously easy to follow a path that is already paved and brightly lit. It is effortless to agree with the loudest, most confident voice in the room. But to look at a massive crowd moving in one direction and say, "No, my path leads the other way," that is the mark of a truly free soul. This path is often quiet. It can be cold and intimidating. There will be nights when you sit in the dark and wonder if you are simply lost or mad. But remember this, the stars only become visible to the human eye when you move far away from the blinding lights of the city. In the same way, the truth of who you are only becomes visible when you move away from the deafening noise of other people's expectations. The loneliness you feel on this path is actually a sacred silence. It is the necessary space where your intuition finally has enough room to speak. When you are no longer straining to hear what the world wants from you, you can finally hear the whisper of what your soul needs. Do not mistake not fitting in for being bitter, cynical, or angry at the world. True authenticity isn't a loud rebellion against others, it is a quiet, steady commitment to yourself. You don't have to shout at the world or wear a costume to prove you are different. You just have to walk your path with a quiet, unshakable dignity. Look at the mountain peak outside. It doesn't ask for permission to stand above the clouds. It doesn't apologize to the valley for its height or its rugged peaks. It simply is. When you become truly comfortable with your own uniqueness, the world starts to change its frequency around you. People may mock you at first, or try to pull you back into the crowd with guilt and judgment, because your freedom reminds them too much of their own heavy chains. But if you stay steady, if you do not flinch, something beautiful happens. You become a lighthouse. You give others the unspoken, divine permission to put down their own masks and find their own hidden paths. By simply being yourself, you heal the world in a way that no amount of fitting in or pleasing others ever could. I want you to look at your perceived flaws differently tonight, under the glow of this fire. Perhaps the reason you don't fit in, the reason you feel like a puzzle piece from a different set, is because you were designed to be a bridge to something entirely new. Every great artist who moved the heart, every deep thinker who shifted our perspective, and every true healer who mended the spirit was someone who fundamentally couldn't fit into the status quo. Their strangeness was the very tool they used to carve a new reality. If you feel like an eternal outsider, it is because you have a perspective that the world desperately, even if it doesn't know it yet, needs. Don't trade your rare diamonds for common pebbles just because everyone else is carrying pebbles. It is far better to be alone and whole than to be surrounded by 1,000 people and feel utterly empty. The price of belonging to the crowd is the slow death of your soul. The price of belonging to yourself is merely a few lonely nights and the occasional cold wind. It is a bargain you should take every single time, without hesitation. As the fire begins to burn low, I want you to feel the physical weight of the mask you've been carrying all these years. Feel the strain in your heart from trying to please people who don't even truly know the real you. Feel how exhausted your spirit is from trying to keep up with the frantic pace of the normal world. Now, imagine putting that heavy, wooden mask down right here, on this worn wooden floor. Leave it behind. You don't need it within these walls, and you don't need it in the life you are returning to. The person you are beneath the layers of expectations is enough. You are not a broken project that needs to be fixed by a society that is itself ill, you are a mystery to be explored and lived. You don't need to earn your place on this earth by performing or being like someone else. You earned your place the very moment you took your first breath. The universe didn't make a mistake when it carefully created your specific heart, your specific mind, and your specific, wild dreams. Tomorrow, when you leave this cabin and go back into the noise of the world, people will inevitably try to dress you in their opinions again. They will try to convince you that you are too much of this or not enough of that. They will try to make you feel small for standing tall. Smile at them with kindness, but do not let their words take root in your fertile soil. Your life is a sacred garden, and you are the only one who has the right to decide what grows there. If you choose to grow wild, untamed flowers instead of manicured, identical lawns, then let them grow wild and beautiful. Some people will only see weeds because they have been taught to fear anything they cannot control. But those who truly understand beauty will see a miracle in your growth. Surround yourself with the precious few who love your wildness, and if you find no one for a season, be content with the company of the wind and the stars. They have always known that you were more than enough, just as you are. The embers are glowing now, a deep, resonant red that holds the heat of the entire night. They are individual, each one burning with its own internal heat, yet together they warm this entire room. That is the secret of true community. When we are all brave enough to be our true, unvarnished selves, we create a warmth that is real, not manufactured. Rest now, my friend. Let the deep silence of the woods remind you that you are safe in your own skin. You don't have to explain your existence to anyone. You don't have to justify your path to those who aren't walking it. You are here, you are real, and you are finally free. The path ahead may be narrow, and you may walk it alone for a while longer, but it is your path. And there is no greater glory in this life than to walk it with an open heart. Sleep deeply tonight. Let the world and its frantic demands fade away into the dark. You are not a cog in a cold machine, you are a living spark of the divine. Trust your wings, even if they haven't flown in years. Trust your silence, for it holds the truth. Good night, my friend. May your dreams be as vast, as unconfined, and as beautiful as the endless sky you were always meant to fly in.